Elon Musk, who you might know from Tesla and SpaceX, has a number of other ventures that he's involved in. One of them is OpenAI, and as of this week, they now have this new universe virtual AI training playground that he's putting something like $1 billion into, combination his money and fundraising, I'm sure.
A lot of fundraising.
A lot of fundraising, and the point of it is to provide a fully open, accessible place that you can train your AI. The tool will include 1,000 different environments and will focus on reinforcement learning, a popular area of machine learning in which an AI agent trains itself to perform a specific task by learning from its mistakes over hundreds of thousands of trials.
Yeah.
As most men have to when learning how to pick up women at bars.
Yep, it's just take enough swings, you'll make contact. You foul it off, you'll be like, oh, I'm not pulling my hips through.
And so the basic way that it functions is that Universe allows an AI agent to use a computer like a human does by looking at screen pixels and operating a virtual keyboard and mouse. So it's not some disembodied virtual AI. It's sort of trying to make it more human. It literally sees, to the extent that it can replicate sight, and it interacts with a keyboard and a mouse, not like at the code level or anything like that.
Okay.
And here are the things it can be used for before we launch our commentary. The Universe environments let developers use and train their AI agents, including Flash games, browser tasks, and games such as Grand Theft Auto 5 and Slither.io. AI agents can interact with the virtual playground by sending mouse and keyboard strikes. And as you pointed out to me in our research on this, they will first sort of view humans using whatever application or game it is.
Yes.
And then they will try to replicate those actions to achieve some definition of success.
Right.
Over and over and over and over
and
over
there's different ways that they measure success. Sometimes they say it's easy because if they're playing an old-timey game, there will be a score that goes up at different speeds based on what you're doing on the screen. It learns what kind of behavior merits higher point gains versus lower point gains and judges accordingly.
Yeah. So like Pong or Pac-Man or something like that.
Pong,
relatively simple.
They were like, we might never know how to teach it Pong. And then they basically said, well, then we just played it in front of it. And they said that after like an hour or so of training it on Pong, humans, after playing for that many times, would get about 11 as their score. The AI version gets about 17. So it's better than us.
That sounds really good.
And there were other games that they had them play. Some of them were about reaction times. They said that on average, when playing and accounting for like network lag of this AI, it said that human reaction times are about 250 milliseconds. The computer's was about 150 milliseconds. And then if you brought it into a local area network, it was 80 milliseconds. And then if you did it on one machine, it was even less than that.
Yeah.
So it's super duper good at this.
And if you mounted it on a tank, it began to take over that area.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so don't. Okay, so this is interesting, and it's sort of weird for me because I'm obviously, I like seeing technology progress. I specifically like AI as a concept, and I like games, and yet I don't really know how I feel about this. I feel like it's a weird way to, I know that it's working, apparently. They get better at the games, and supposedly they're building generalized intelligence, as opposed to just pattern recognition or simple trivia like other AI programs can use. It can actually sort of learn in the way that humans do, but I don't know exactly how it's going to end up being used. And the fact that anyone can use this, I can imagine in terms of creating social media chatbots and things like this. I feel like there could be a lot of downsides to this open training.
Mechanical Turks is what it eliminates. Mechanical Turk, if you don't know what it is, it's essentially...
It's Cenk Uygur, but an earlier iteration.
Robo-jank. Mechanical Turk is something that you think is a robot, but it's actually a person. It's those little tasks like answering emails or whatever. It went back to someone actually brought this machine and said, look at the Mechanical Turk. It'll do, I don't remember what it was, type something back to you.
That's really a person.
But actually it was a person inside of the box doing it and handing it back.
Yeah, so
answering
it's R2-D2.
questions. Yes, exactly. So this is the reason that I as a company would want to have this kind of general AI as opposed to narrow AI is I would just use that. It would identify on its own how to solve those problems that right now are a little too complex for a machine and I have to hire a person for. The Mechanical Turk. So this will eliminate that job.
This will eliminate many jobs.
Yeah,
probably.
and that's tough because where are the jobs going to? They're going away from people having to do stuff and then to those those areas that people can't only people can do those jobs. This is one of the ways that's not building a machine, like that's not like an assembly line job done by a robot. There's another place where technology can replace a person.
I tried to find out if this is bringing us substantially closer to generating the AI from her.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
See, that you'd get behind.
I hope.
But then I don't want to spoil that movie.
Yes. Now, yeah. The fear I have, obviously, whenever you talk about AI, is that theoretically it can get out of control and cause lots of problems. And the reason it can't do that now is because it doesn't have that general intelligence. It can't do something as simple necessarily as look at a game and know what it's supposed to do. It still requires like nudging. It's like an infant. Like an infant can duplicate things, but it doesn't have the life experience to create goals based on necessarily. And once it gets that basic intelligence, it can start to iterate hundreds of thousands of times simultaneously and learn at an exponential rate.
That's different
and that
from
becomes
you.
Scary.
So it starts with all this stuff that you teach a kid. Like, oh, if you want to teach it a game, you play the game with it. And that's the same thing that happens to the robot.
Yeah.
And then the kid later has played games before. If it sees a game out
And it
there,
learns general
it'll be like, you don't have to
lessons.
tell me that. I figured it out already.
Yes.
But
Okay.
the difference is, like, there's only like, it takes me a while to play a game. This thing can not only, they're not teaching it to do this now, but it could, use what it's learned to play a lot of simulated games really fast.
Really fast, yeah.
When they combine it with other technologies that aren't, it's not learning from the OpenAI project.
Perhaps even war games.
And that's the thing is like, so if I'm designing machines to do stuff instead of humans, like I know that I will make mistakes along the way because there's stuff that I don't know and things that I've learned that I've forgotten that only through enough trial and error will I mess up. And then this will just like run a bunch of simulations and ostensibly give us the right answer on how to behave.
Yeah.
The other thing people are worried about is that, it's an open project. So it's possible that people with bad intentions can just
That's what I'm saying,
can go ahead. I'm sorry, I was probably thinking of something else.
Wonderful.
But can go do terrible stuff.
It's good to know.
I know what you're thinking about the mainstream media.
Had enough. It's gonna stop.
You know who's going to stop it? You are. You create the Young Turks, independent media. You power us. TYTnetwork.com/join. Be the revolution.